This morning, we have a new CBS Battleground Tracker that looks at the presidential race in North Carolina and Georgia. President Trump won both states in 2016, but frustration about the handling of the coronavirus is taking a toll on Mr. Trump's chances this year. Results show both states are in play. Former Vice President Biden is up 48-44 in North Carolina, and it's tight in Georgia, where Mr. Biden is up 46-45. That's a state a Democrat hasn't won since 1992. CBS News Elections and Surveys Director Anthony Salvanto joins us from his home in Westchester County, New York, with more. Good morning, Anthony.
Hey, John. Good to see you.
It's great to see you. Why did you pick these two states?
Well, it's part of our look at states that might be in play. Remember, the Electoral College is what decides the presidency, and you've got to look at all the states that are now expanded into our categories of either toss-up or in play. These are not two we might have expected to be on the list earlier this year, but it's that frustration, as you said, about coronavirus. And you also see in places like Georgia and North Carolina a larger story, and that is that these growing metro areas, whether it's around Atlanta, around Charlotte, and others, where those suburbs have been trending towards the Democrats the last couple of cycles, something you want to keep an eye on in a lot of states this year. You've also seen around those areas college graduates trending towards the Democrats, in particular white college degree holding women, with whom Biden now has double-digit leads. Those are all trends the Democrats need to keep going if they're going to win this election.
For Biden to do well in these states, which is basically he's making incursions into what's Trump territory, for him to do well, he'll have to do well with the black vote. In North Carolina in 2016, that was about 20% of the vote. It's about 30% in 2016 in Georgia. What did your numbers tell you about the black vote in these two states?
So a couple of things. One is strong support for Joe Biden, as you might expect, but also as he needs. Number two, you want to always look at turnout among all groups, but in particular among the black vote. In our surveys, they tell us that they don't think it's as easy for them to vote. So that's important, especially this year. And then the other thing about it is, while the bulk of Joe Biden's support has come in our polling from people who say they're voting for Joe Biden to vote against Donald Trump, it's black voters in these states who say they're voting for Joe Biden because they like Joe Biden. Enthusiasm is always an important component as well, John.
And these will be two states to look at as we talk later in the broadcast about the ease of vote and how that might be different this time around. What did you find in the numbers in terms of the coronavirus response and the way voters are feeling about the president?
So here you see, as we have in other states, basically a negative view of how the response has gone. So you find that people think their states reopened, in the case of Georgia, too quickly. And you find that people say they think the administration's approach to this has hurt rather than helped Georgia in particular. So that's weighing down on him a little bit. Then you look and you say, well, the people who feel that way, was the administration pressuring the state? And people say, yes, they feel that way. So that accrues a little bit back to the president. The other thing we look at, John, is you want to look at the expectation against the response. And here we asked people, is the coronavirus something that public policy and good public policy can do anything about? And a majority says, yes, it can. But then we asked, well, is the administration doing all it can? And a majority said no, they thought they could be doing more.
So just briefly to button that up, they believe that the president is to blame for opening too quickly, but they also think he could be trying harder.
Yes, they do think that he could be trying harder. In fact, when asked to describe what they think the administration's approach is, more say they think the administration is just letting the virus run its course as opposed to trying to contain it. And well, you look at the vote among people who think that, and well, they're not voting for the president, but they're also feeling that he's not doing a good job handling the virus.
All right, Anthony Salvanto, thanks so much for being with us.